Well, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Clocking the Gallop's preview of racing today. It is a Tuesday morning. It is racing at Turffontein on the inside track, and the wind has blown up overnight. So the temperatures have dropped significantly, and the daytime temperature today, Neil, is going to be 15 degrees centigrade. A warm welcome to you back from KwaZulu-Natal. Sterling job on Supersport once again for the Vodacom Durban July. And just before we say hello to you, a big thank you out there to all our supporters and to all the people that came through the Clocking the Gallop. We had a resounding weekend of visits to the channel, and also for our Clocking the Gallop extra selections. There was certainly great support for that, and we promise to give you further in the future. But thanks to our supporters, Neil, and thank you to you as well for being down at Greyville and guiding us through the Vodacom Durban July. How was the experience?
Well, it was excellent. It was bizarre. Always is bizarre to be on course without crowds and no owners. But it gave us an opportunity to be closer to the horses, I think. And our broadcast, the Supersport broadcast, was a success principally because of two people. First of all, Mike de Kock. I mean, just having his expertise and gravitas on the Supersport broadcast was immense. So we thank him for that. And then Ravon, of course, is always wonderful to work with. I had a lot of people saying that, they forget how knowledgeable and experienced Ravon is, and just a magnificent voice. In fact, Terry Payne phoned me. He said he's got just a great voice, just to listen to, which, we thank them. And I think Andy did quite a nice job as well, because it's a bit different. Some racing people don't always like it because they say he's asking silly questions. But Mike de Kock and I had a discussion about it, and we actually quite like it because it's from a neutral's point of view, and certainly for the Supersport broadcast, it brings a new element. And he said, I'd prefer to be interviewed rather than the mundane questions, that all racing journalists keep asking him, race in, race out. So all in all, it was a very good broadcast. But I want to thank you and the team particularly because, as you know, I was a bit quiet because of work on the, in inverted commas, tipping front. I was supposed to take care of Sunday, but as it turned out, it was abandoned. So my selections never really saw the light of day. As you know, I like Do It Again for a place. Yes. We could wax lyrical about, what happened to him during the passage. Some people have contacted me. The Whisperer, for example, I'm sure Matthew won't mind me telling you, the Whisperer said to me he would have won. No doubt he would have won, Do It Again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know whether he would have won because Richard Faree did say, well, Gavin on comedy didn't cruise past him at the top of the straight. But it was just a question of Do It Again. Never got an opportunity to use that beautiful long stride of his. So we'll never know. But thank God he ran a place.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And all credit to Michelle Ricks and to Harold Crawford. Neil, you've known Harold Crawford for a long, long time. Just tell us how long you've known him and what this would mean to him.
It's incredible to put it into words because racing, you talk about the smaller man and dreams coming true. This is a classic example, and it's tied up, of course, all with Ashwin Reynolds, who only started owning horses a couple of years ago and is the first owner of colour to win the Vodacom Durban July. And, we've spoken about Grassy Park and the Cape Flats going crazy. And again, coming back to what Mike de Kock said, we should do what they did with Seabiscuit with this horse. They should actually take him into the Cape Flats and parade him.
And show him off, yeah.
And show him off. So it's just tied into a great news story. And again, it was good to have Ravon there. And Ravon's been sending me a couple of things. I think Kino Cummings spoke to the Ashwin on the phone on a Cape radio station, which he sent me the comments and the radio transcript from, which was great. So it was good. I thought, I must say, that Gavin Arena's ride.
Well, everyone's talking about it. Yeah, everyone's talking about it, Neil.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
And I think the more you followed racing, the more you know about racing. Everyone has recognized just exactly how good a ride it was to have a senior rider on your horse and doing that. And I hope to catch up with him later in the week, Neil. I'm not sure when. He's agreed to come back on, because I know we interviewed him before. In fact, we only interviewed one jockey before, and we struck it lucky with Gavin. So we hope to catch up with him and just find out how it all panned out for him. But well done to the whole team of Comedy Ding, and wishing him all the best down in Cape Town. Let's kick on with today's racing. It's a Turffontein on the inside track. I'll give you the changes as we go through it. I do have up-to-date changes, Neil, and we're also going to have a look at soccershop.bet's betting. By the way, thanks very much to Lance Michael and his team, because they also had a very successful July. I think the bookmakers got the lot. Certainly with that Garden Province Stakes, Neil, they got a skinner, what they call a skinner, with Arena coming through and winning. So they lucked out over there, because it could have been disastrous for them had War of Athena come through. But it was a closely fought match over there. Let's go to the first race, Neil. Just quickly, the first race here, there are no changes apart from the fact that a tongue tie goes on number 9, Arkan. And it's 3-1 Nuspli and 7-2 Pride of Paris and 4-1. It's a work riders race, Neil. What do you fancy?
Not much. You have to, I hate to repeat myself on these work riders maiden plates, but you got to tread warily. I mean, this play is very much overdue. I think that the improver is likely the 5 Pride of Paris, particularly from a 1 draw. I think that's probably the improver, but I wouldn't get overly involved. I thought it was quite interesting. There's a horse called R. Khan running when Mark Khan, M. Khan, had a winner, you told me, on the weekend. And I missed it, but I was very pleased to see that.
Yeah, it was a big price, and we liked it a bit, actually. I liked it on form. I actually was with him over the weekend, Mark, and I'm so happy for him that he got it across the line. It's a horse that shows a lot of speed, True Charm, and who ended up winning. Neil, the value for me...
that could improve. That Archon, I don't mention it just because it's Archon and M-Con. I think that could improve, especially with the rider.
Yeah, it could. It's got a tongue tie on for the first time. It could improve. I thought the value might well be with the 1 Curfew, Neil. I was actually surprised to see that he was at 10-1, because this Toby Mango is not a bad rider, and he rides pretty well for St. John Gray, whose stable is in form, and he's ridden this horse before and ran close up 5th behind Rainy Season over the course and distance. So I think the value may be with Curfew each way at 10-1. And I also put in Stay the Course, because there was little to choose between them on the Harlequin Jack run and on the Valencia run. So if you like Curfew, you have to like Stay the Course. And I think there's little bit between them, but Stay the Course is 4-1, Curfew's 10-1, Neil. And that's why I say the value might well be with Curfew in the first race of the day.
Well, I agree with you with Mango, and I agree with you with St. John. And what I did mark with this race is the Curfew once was an 80. And it's down to a 67. Now, that has absolutely zero relevance to the weights in the race because it's a maiden plate. But I like to often look at it because it does tell you that at some point in time, what the horse was capable of or was thought capable of with the handicapper. So rather than it, being a 45 and stayed a 45, at least at one stage, this horse did show some ability. So I'm actually happy with that, Nico. I mean, I think Curfew probably was my 3rd or 4th choice. So at 10-1, you're right. I think that's probably over the odds.
Yeah, and that's probably the value in the first race of the day, which is the start of the bipod. Let's go to race 2, Neil, which is the start of the place accumulator. This is a maiden plate over 1,200 meters. Scratched is number 4, Just Smile. That's out of the race, and that's the only change in the second of the day. Here's the betting, and the favorite is number 8, Quantum King, which I'll come to in a moment, 12-10. Vegas High Rise is at 16-10, and then 4-1 Bucks Fizz. Do you remember them? Bucks Fizz.
Yes.
At 4-1, 6-1 Andaman, and 16-1 Bar. I can't remember the hit that they did. What was the hit? It was a big hit that they did. Let me try and
It was a huge hit. Yeah, they had like 2 hits. Probably in the 80s, the late 80s, Bucks Fizz. They were
Bucks Fizz. Maybe
British...
in the early 80s, Neil, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Bucks Fizz. I think they were an English band. Bucks Fizz is champagne, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's,
yeah.
Well, I see the Mother's Espumante.
Yeah. The songs here that they're talking about were Making Your Mind Up in 81, My Camera Never Lies, and One of Those Nights.
Can't remember any of them.
Now
I'll
those
have to
days are
listen.
gone. Anyway,
Sure.
Heart of Stone.
But
Does that ring a bell?
maybe that Heart of Stone might well have been.
Yeah. Anyway, they were the early 80s. I
Bucks
remember them
Fizz, yeah.
yesterday. Anyway, so yeah.
Nico, I'm very pleased. I'm very interested to hear what the word is on Quantum King, because you told me that you've got some information regarding Johan Janssen van Vuren's horses, because I thought this would win. I thought Quantum King was a bet here.
Yes, and Neil, it is the half brother to, dare I say it, Comedy Dung.
Yeah, can you believe it?
And who's riding it? Kevin Larena.
Sure. I wonder if he knows that.
Yeah, he probably does. Yeah. So he's by Karari, whereas Comedy Ding is by Elusive Fort, who Neil, I can't speak highly enough of Elusive Fort. I always preferred the fillies, but I mean, look what the colts have done too. So Quantum King, who ran second to South Boy, who, funny enough, runs later in the day, Neil, and has got a chance, I think would also have to be respected. But also this horse, Vegas High Rise, is the son of Vercingetorix, and we know the Vercingetorix are very, very forward too. And I make it a race in two, actually, between the top two. But the talk from the Werner stable, I'll read you from the Van Vuren stable, is that it is his best for the day.
Well, that pleases me because I like it.
King's half brother, Johan's best is Quantum King, and that's from the stable, from those in the know. So yeah. So Neil, I think a race in two of the first timers. Just let's quickly talk about the first timers. Anderman, son of Gray's Inn, is a full brother to Tromso, who is trained by Pat Lund down in KwaZulu-Natal's had 2 wins. The mare Anderman Dancers had 2 foals, 2 runners, and 1 winner in Tromso. Bucks Fizz is out of the 6-time winning mare Espumanti, a full brother to Gin Fizz, who now runs in the Eastern Cape, and a half brother to Sparkling Water. So he's well bred, is Bucks Fizz. And those are the first timers and they're breeding. But I think that on their first runs, Quantum King and Vegas High Rise should hold the key to the winner of this race. And with the talk being strong in Quantum King, I think we can have that one ahead of Vegas High Rise, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Quantum King for me, Nico, definitely.
Okay, so we'll keep it tight and keep it in the family with Comedy Ding's half brother, who is Quantum King. Let's move over to the third race. Start of the pick 6, the maiden over 1,200 meters. In the third race, no scratchings to report. Number 3, Woman of Grace, is now ridden by apprentice Cole Dickon, who claims 1.5 kilos. Compression masks on 1 Caruso and 3 Woman of Grace, and number 4 Stormy Weather's Alamites in front, unshod behind. Here's the betting, Neil. 33 to 10 basically. Numbers 2 Frosted Ice and 7 Magic to the 4. They are joint favorites with number 11, the first timer, Twice as Wild at 7 to 2. And then number 8, which is another first timer, son of Silvano Monashada at 9 to 2. And number 9, another first timer, Peyton's Pride at 5 to 1. So it looks like the first timers don't have to be too good to win to beat the horses with form over here. And what did you find?
I thought this is a swirl-a-bit race, very, very open. I found a little bit of a lurker. I was actually hoping to see 20 to 1, but other people have also noticed there's a bit of a lurker. And that's Chris Yonker's horse, number 6, Velvet Jet. Yeah. Simanga has an excellent record when he rides for Chris Yonker, and you always got to take cognizance when he takes a ride. Now, Velvet Jet has got fair enough form. It's the type of form that I would expect after 2 runs there would be improvement. The big negative is the respiratory noise. That concerns me. On both occasions, she's had respiratory noises, and the tongue tie has been on since day 1, so they're obviously aware of it. But the positives, apart from Kamalo, is remember that although this is 1,200, it is the Turffontein inside track, and as a result, it's around the turn. So Velvet Jet is going to be there for nothing. And Simanga doesn't hang around, and this will show good pace last time. So I think we'll get a bit of a run for our money. I think Velvet Jet will bounce and go, and with a strong Kamalo ride, I'm hoping that a nice each way bit of value on number 6 Velvet Jet. So that would be my each way play in a very open race.
Yeah, so Velvet Jet for you, Neil, is at 12.5 to 1. But I think the 2-year-olds hold the key here. They obviously get the 3 kilos allowance. And I think the horse with the one run, Magic to the 4 for Sean Tarry, Neil, would be my top choice over here. I think she is probably the horse to beat. She's by Willow Magic. And if you look at it, 400 to finish time last time out, very quick, Neil, 22.2 seconds, if it is to be believed, is lightning fast. It doesn't show so much when you look at the lengths back. Only made it 2 lengths inside the last 400. But if that is the case, and she was finishing that quickly, then I think she'll do pretty well today. Will Magic to the 4. So she's my first choice. I do respect the first timers. Just looking at the breeding of the first timers, Neil, number 8, Monashada, is by Silvano. Will probably prefer further. The winner, the mare, Captain Song, the mother, was a winner over 1,450 meters. So might prefer a bit further Monashada, and not drawn well at 10. 9, Peyton's Pride, is the daughter of Master of My Fate, and you as well as me, we like the Master of My Fates. The mother was a 2-time winner, travel up front, but won over 1,400 and 1,600 meters. So you'd think that would prefer further than 6 furlongs. And then the first time of the first timers, I fancy the 11 Twice as Wild, because the mare Wild Ash was a 4-time winner, and this filly is a half sister to Ashford Castle, Neil, who's with the Cotson Yard, and he's by VAR, and has had 2 wins, Ashford Castle, and is very highly thought of. So from a 2 draw, I think of the first timers, I'd be with Twice as Wild from the Fortune stable. Yeah, so that one, Twice as Wild, which is probably named as after the assistant trainer, Twice as Wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. So I rate it. I like 7 actually. I like 7, and I'm prepared to put in your 6, and 7 for the horses that have run, and of the first time is the 11.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we'll watch with the Twice as Well. But if you're in trouble and you need to get out of jail at any stage, put that in your swingers.
Yeah. Don't pass go either. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to race number 4. And this is a classified stakes, Neil, over 1,200 meters. I'm just going to quickly tell you that there is a late scratching over here, which is an important one. Bon Vivant, Neil, number 3, was coughing. So that's out. That was the second favorite. Also scratches number 11 from the Dawson Yard, Eastbrook, Neil. So there will be adjustments here. Eastbrook pulled a muscle. Candice reported that early this morning, actually, at 5:30. So those 2 have come out. In the 4th race, on a high note, the favorite has a tongue tie. Number 2, Touch of Fate, no blinkers, and Elamites in front, unshot behind. A tongue tie on number 6, Forever Light. And then a compression mask on number 7, Wuhan. Strange that a horse called Wuhan should be wearing a mask. But anyway.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Who am I to tell? Yeah, but anyway, so that's the news in race number 4. The betting shows On a High Note, who is going to shorten now ahead of the McQuackers, Neil, and then Eastbrook and Space Race. Those are the top ones in the market. So with Bon Vivant out, who I thought had a chance, will it go the way of On a High Note? And just the comments from the yard, if I can, before you go ahead. On a High Note is well, but no rock star. Each way chance from a bad draw. So it's not very highly thought of by the stable, but is probably good enough to go in.
Here's my take on the race. I wrote cut up. This race is cut up badly because of Bon Vivant and Eastbrook coming out. And as a result, On a High Note, I think it's going to go off quite a short price favorite, but I'm going to try and beat it. Not because they say it's not a rock star, but because of the draw of 11 around the turn. And it's a classified stakes race, which starts you, of course, looking for fillies. The first filly I had a look at was Space Race. I thought it was quite interesting. Lyle Hewitson. He doesn't often ride for Paul Peter because...
No, not anymore.
No, because he's normally with Sean Tarry, and normally, anyway, Kennedy's up here, but everybody's made their choices. But I thought in an open race that could improve. I'm just looking now. These 2 scratchings were drawn 5 and 3. So that means that Space Race will actually come into a 5 draw, which which is actually quite useful. And the only other filly or mare, I think, were the two at the bottom who have no form really. So, which is Extrovert, but Kamalo rides. I mean, do you remember when this won? It only won because of Smunger.
That's right. It did. And then I tried to follow up with Jacobs, and it was disastrous because he lost his crop and he went a million miles an hour.
Oh, you did. I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that, Nico.
Lost
and
his
I'm just
crop.
looking now. So it's still a 61. Well, I wouldn't leave it out. I think this is an open race.
Yeah.
So particularly now with Bon Vivant and Eastbrook coming out. But what about one of your old faithfuls, the McQuackers? I mean, he's done you wonders. You bred him perfectly.
So, Neil, I put him in the race today because if you look at the race with On a High Note back at Turffontein on the 24th of April, they're both up 2.5 kilograms. So there's no to suggest that the McQuackers can't run in front of On a High Note again. The McQuackers has drawn 1, and On a High Note is now drawn at 9. I think they'll finish closer together than they did last time. There was just under 2 lengths between them, Neil. But I know that On a High Note was running on really strongly at the finish. But I think where one runs, the other one will be on the premises. So I think 1 and 8, I speak about probably in the same breath. Funny enough, a slight preference for Johan's horse, On a High Note, even though it's drawn worse. But the McQuackers must go in. And then I'm prepared to take your horse, your fillies, your 2 fillies, Space Race and Extrovert, I think, of the others. But I don't think it extends further than that.
Okay. Just very quickly, when I was down in Durban, Roy Magna was down there, and I had a lengthy chat with Roy for a good 30 minutes. It was good to catch up with him. I haven't been face-to-face with him. We were practicing social distancing, but even with a mask on, it's hard not to notice Roy. But I had a fantastic discussion with him, a fascinating discussion, and just complimenting on how well he's done and continues to do. You know, stays and keeps his horses on the boil. We mentioned Penny Kimberley, of course, and Vasim, who's one of your favorite horses, and he was absolutely delighted with the way he's been running. But it was good to get, you know, I won't share the entire 30-minute discussion with you, but, you know, a man of that experience and knowledge and just insight. It was really fascinating. And we were talking about size of stables, you know, and I was asking him, you know, because he said you can get lost in a really big stable, and the personalizing of horses, he tries to keep a lid on how many horses he's got, purely because he's been through it all, you know, he's got the experience in terms of knowing his horses. But yeah, it was really good to be chatting to him, and he looked in fine fettle. I don't think his horses ran great on the day, but he was straight. He said, you know, I brought them down here, I don't know. You know, this is their first test as 2-year-olds as to whether they stay the 1,300 or whatever the distances were. But it was really good to catch up with him.
I think you're going to be proud of that horse Hollywood Bounds run, honestly, because although the winner, Miracle, won by 7.5 or whatever it wasn't too far off in 4th position. So I think you could be pretty proud of that run. Excuse me. Anyway, let's move on to the 5th race now, Neil. Race 5 is a graduation plate over 1,450 meters. No scratching. There's 7 runners over here. And in race 5, are there any changes whatsoever? Just number 7, Opening Gambit, has Alamites in front and races unshod behind. Well, this horse is short, Bowie. It's at 11-10, the son of Twice Over. Trying Times at 5-2. Stone Cold at 5-1, and Foreign Field at 11-2, Neil. Is Bowie a banker, or Bowie?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm going to put in a few. I'm certainly going to put in Trying Times. I do prefer Bowie, don't get me wrong, but I'm just a bit wary of him, and I might go a little bit deeper. Initially, I like Stone Cold, but I think that 59.5 is just, the handicapper needs to be a little bit more lenient with Vicky Veramitu's horse. I just think he's slightly, I don't know if he can give Bowie 2 kilograms, or Trying Times that 2 kilograms. But I might have another look at it. Something's just niggling away at me here. I don't know what it is. At the moment, I'm putting in 4 and 5, but not convinced there might not be a surprise. I've got to give another thought to it. So maybe you can help. Were you going to banker Bowie? Easy for me to say, or Bauer Banky?
Yeah. Well, I just feel that this is his trip. You know, we backed it when it was second to Willow Express that day. We were gutted, actually.
Yes.
Everything went wrong. It got hung in, cast a shoe. Solomon's showed that he was an appy in that finish. And bottom line was we got beat fair and square, and you know, he lived to fight another day. Then I think I followed up by backing it against Bartholdi, Neil, and it ran another good race. I think this is his course and distance. If you look, he's performed well over the course and distance. He's now got Hewitson back on. The contractors won a few, Neil. I think everything for me does point to him being a banker today. Trying times.
It should do, but he's got a nasty habit of running second. I mean, he's run 6 seconds.
Correct. He's had 6 seconds, and this is the problem.
That worries me, you know.
Yeah, he finds
he's got to get out of that. He's got to get out of that mindset. And sometimes, as you know, horses, you know, I'm not saying I don't know anything about the horse. I don't know whether he is a tea leaf or whatever, but what I'm seeing on evidence is he's run 6 seconds.
Yes. So the last run, Neil, is an excellent run. I mean, I know that he received 2 kilos from the contractor, but the fact of the matter is he got within 0.3 of a length, and I think that run in a handicap, he's back into a race which suits him from a graduation point of view, because he's rated 87. Stone Cold is rated 92. So theoretically, Stone Cold should be giving Bowie 2.5, and is only giving him 2. But I think for me, I'm in Bowie's camp. You know, I'm going to give him a chance today to redeem himself. He has finished second too many times, but I think at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Bowie. I'm going to side with him today.
Okay. Well, yeah, I hope you're right, because he is my first choice. But what is a nagging doubt is that he can't get his nose in front when it matters.
Yeah.
Let's hope he does it today.
It's a problem, but I'm hoping that he breaks the duck today. Okay, on to the 6th race, Neil. Here is race number 6, and it is a merit-rated 73 handicap. It's over 1,450 meters. And in race number 6, there are no changes to report, other than the fact that El Romiachi, who you tipped last week, it was a 2-horse race. Didn't we make it a 2-horse race? I think you tried to do a commentary again there. Racing up for the last. It was a 2-horse race.
It was an absolute 2-horse race, and the De Kock favorite was a bit short, and I thought that El Rami
Power Ranger. That's right.
Power Ranger, yes.
Power Ranger, correct. And this horse won, so therefore he gets a penalty. His merit rating is up to 69 now, and he picks up 1.5 kilos, I think, now to 58. So he's going to carry 58 kilos, but he still remains as favorite. And in fact, there's been money for him because he was quoted 22 to 10, Neil. He's into 14 to 10. So the money has come for Gavin Lorena and El Romiachi here. Now you see me 3 to 1, Dark Travel 5 to 1, and the Rosa Bashar, who's a 2-year-old filly, has come in at 8 to 1, and it's 14 to 1 bar. Any thoughts about, firstly, El Romiachi? Can he follow up?
I think he can, Nico. I mean, I liked him. I liked the way he won. He's a 4-year-old. He's the son of Elusive Fort again. He's just won the July, but he's out of a Silvano mare. I like the way, I mean, Gavin's got to be riding with super confidence.
Yeah.
Not only because of the Vodacom Durban July, but Desert Miracle, when you're sitting on horses like that, and give them a chance. And I think that, relatively speaking, I mean, it is all relative. I think that he's still relatively well in here. I mean, if you're taking on, you know, I look at horses like Master Yuletide, who I initially quite liked, but then I thought, you know, he's got to carry 58.5. That's quite a bit of pudding. And remember, these are all 3-year-olds. And that was the reason, one of the reasons why I liked El Romiachi is that he was a 4-year-old last time against Power Ranger. And he finds himself in very similar company. So, yeah, I see no reason why he can't follow up. So I would be going El Romiachi, cover the field. I tried to shop around. As I mentioned, Master Yuletide. I thought was going to be my roughie, but in the end, nothing really jumped off the page. What do you fancy as a roughie? One of the
no, I like El Romiachi. I think it's another horse that will go in again today. I really do like El Romiachi.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised to see him top of the boards. I think he's a bit skinny at 14-10 now.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah, now he's
go very close to winning, Neil. He's got to give those 2-year-olds quite a bit of pudding. So Catch the Green Light has been gelded and comes back as a gelding. And then the Rose of Bashar, Neil, he's got to give 7.5 kilos to this 2-year-old filly, but she hasn't been round the turn yet, the Rose of Bashar. All her runs have been up the straight. She did win well, and when she beat Piccadilly last time out, but I see the computer form tip her to win. Rod Beckers tips her to win, but even though she received 7.5 kilos, I think she's got it all to do over here. I know you tipped Sudden Break when she won her maiden last time out at a good price. She's a 4-year-old filly, but I don't know if you like that again. But I think El Romiachi is the horse to beat.
Yeah, that bottom one's got absolutely no weight, so she could run into the money. I thought El Romiachi or Field, and I mean Field, all the way down to Vita's Bearing, or
Yes.
Vita's Bearing, because that's got some form, multiple form with a few there. I wouldn't leave that out the blinkers first time. So for me, Banker 7, cover the field.
I'm with you on the Banker 7 part there. As we move on to race 7 now, it is a Racing Association MR89 handicap, 1,450 meters for this one. I think this is pretty competitive, race 7. Jockey change, number 4, Rock of Africa. In fact, it's not a jockey change, but they've got it here as a jockey change. Jeff Saister rides, so confirming that 1.5 kilo apprentice allowance. Number 1, Nordic Rebel has a compression mask. Blinkers got on number 2, Dan the Lad. Now wears blinkers and no tongue tie. So a few equipment changes for that. And then Dark Tide, which is interesting, has got the blinkers on. That's an interesting change, that the blinkers got on Dark Tide, Neil.
Sorry, I was on mute because I expected a coughing fit, but there wasn't one. Yeah, I don't know about this race. It's a trappy race. I think you mentioned Dark Tide with the blinkers on. I think that's going to be a huge plus for him. Plus, Samanga is back on, and Samanga hasn't been on for 4 starts. So if you take those 4 starts away, which were not bad runs, the form going into this race with Kamalo Reed, second, first, second, third, first. Blinkers on, huge runner, huge runner, Nico, Dark Tide. And again, we'll see earlier on if the contractor form is held up, as we suspect it will be, with either Stone Cold or Bowie. If one of those two win, then the form's there for all to see. So for me, I think that they've got the betting the wrong way around here. I would have Dark Tide as the favorite in this race.
Yeah. Now, I found this fascinating because I spent a lot of time on this race. I think it's probably the race of the day for me in terms of the competitive nature of it, because a few have chances over here, Neil. Nordic Rebel's a 7-year-old. We know where he sits in the pecking order, but he's got Gavin Lorena up, who I'm sure wants to win on him again for Erico and the stable and the connections. Dark Tide, the blinkers, are they going to work? It's a big question mark and the imponderable with him. Ballon d'Or got touched off last time out. I was furious that it got touched off because I had a massive bet on it. But all credit to the contractor, who Paul Peter did like, but I backed Ballon d'Or. Then further down, Neil, my tip in the race is Seaways. And the reason being is because look at Diego de Gavea, how he rides this horse. Now, you spent a bit of time with Diego.
I did.
Look how this horse...
Character.
Yeah, he's a character. Look how this horse finishes. The only issue is if you look purely on the back to black form line, there's no ways that Seaways can beat Ballon d'Or because they finished almost together and there's 6.5 kilos difference. But the apprentice rode Seaways, brief raindrop, it wasn't de Gavea. So I think de Gavea is the key here on this horse, and we've spoken so highly of Pettigrew. The course and distance form is excellent, and I'm leaning towards Seaways as an improving 3-year-old, receiving a bit of weight from the others. to maybe have their measure. But that said, Neil, South Boy is another horse that has impressed me in his racing. You'll remember that I looked him up when he ran 5th to Rock the Casbah on his debut, and I liked this horse. And I tipped him when he ran 2nd to Raise the Red Lantern in that Work Riders jockey race on Champions Day. And then he won, beating Quantum King convincingly by 4 lengths, who's tipped to win today. I think the further this horse goes, the better he'll be. And I think at a draw of 2, I'm expecting big things from him today. So I don't think this race is clear-cut. Although Seaways remains my first choice, I give chances to Dark Tide, to Ballon d'Or, South Boy, and right down at the bottom, Wakas, who's a dangerous front runner. I don't trust this race, Neil, and a few have chances, but I'll be taking a chance with Seaways and smaller perms, but I'll be backing it up with South Boy. I like those 2 3-year-olds, actually.
I'm glad you mentioned South Boy, because he is getting 6 kilograms from Dark Tide, and that's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And if Quantum King wins earlier on, as we suspect he might, that's going to frank the form. And I agree with you, pedigree-wise, I think the extra 200 here, well, it's actually not the extra 200. What is it, an extra 1? No, you're right, 250, extra 250. Yeah. He's going to suit him down to the ground from a 2 draw. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's deeper than at first glance, definitely.
It is. I'd go a few over here. And even Nordic Rebel, as I mentioned, the old timer, he's at 4.5 to 1 with the Lorena factor too. So it is a lovely race to get involved in. And I think a few have chances over there. So we move on to the lucky last, Neil, at 10 to 5. We'll go on to this one. It's a classified stakes race. It's over 1,800 meters. And in race 8, you can scratch number 13, Manitoba, insufficient recovery time. 15, Wiley the Great takes his place in the race. Wesley Mowing rides that. And the other changes are Tongue Tie on number 5. All together, lovely. And Blinkers go on number 6, Hey Benny. Those are the changes in race number 8. Now, the favorite here is Blue Spark, who took ages to win his maiden. He's at 4 to 1. He's a weak favorite. He had a Blackthorn at 4.5 to 1. Kapama at 13 to 2. Rabia the Rebel at 13 to 2. And Twin Turbo at 13 to 2. And then Pomelo is at 8. What is it? 15 to 2. Looks like 15 to 2. 10 to 1, Hey Benny. What are your feelings in the lucky last?
Very open, and this horse Blue Spark has not always been our favorite. As you say, it was very expensive to follow, and then the one time we thought, well, he had to win. I think it was behind Suited Connector, and he ran a moderate race, and then we'd had enough of him, and he popped up to beat us when we backed in Enigma Code. So yeah, he's not exactly our friend.
No,
I think you've got to respect him. He's Kamalo, and he's Alec Laird, and he's a 4-year-old. But and there's been money from 5 to 1 into 4 to 1. I think he's obviously got a chance, but I'm going to look elsewhere. What I will say is, what has St. John Gray got in the last? Now, he had 3, and I looked straight away. Manitoba, unfortunately, is scratched. It leaves him with 2 runners.
Yeah.
One has no form at all, Sitting Bull.
Yes.
But it is 35 to 1. But I thought the other one, Hey Benny, might be a bit of a shrewdie, actually.
Yeah, I've got the blink on.
Yes. But, you know, you've got to be wary of St. John. He's got an unbelievable track record of winning the last races. Graham Swartz will tell us, punter. But I didn't have a strong opinion. I like a bit of Fascinada. I'm going a bit wider here, but obviously I've got to ask you about Rabia the Rebel, Nico.
Can't catch her. Well, we went for her. We went for her when she had Luke Ferraris up 3 runs back. We had a nice little bet, and she stayed there up until the last 200 and then petered out. And then the next time she ran, I think we backed her again, and then we sort of left her a little bit in the lurch the next time when she won, beating Opera Glass. I backed Opera Glass actually that day. So I got beaten half a length.
Opera Glass has come out and won. We backed it again the next time, did we? Or am I confusing it with something?
No. I think you're confusing it with something else. I think that was her last run. I'll have another look quickly now. But I think that was her most recent run.
Yeah, I'm confusing it with the horse that won well, that we tipped again on Thursday, that swept through from last with the apprentice on. That's what I'm confusing it with. But anyway.
Yes. The one that won.
Yes, we all
Yeah.
tipped it.
Yeah.
Can't
No, that
remember
is
what.
a different horse. Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, so being a classified stakes, you have to give a chance to a filly or mare, and the one that I think is the top choice had to be Kapama, Neil. Of the fillies and mares, I have to tip Kapama because Kapama ran third in its most recent run. It's a form update that was last week, and she ran behind All Aglow. But if you put Kapama in, Neil, who ran 3/4 of a length of Soul of Wit, there's not much between her and this horse. Altogether Lovely, which somehow just pops up every time I look at it. I don't know why it's not in the betting, the 5. It's not scratched, but it's an ex Robbie Shannon Hill horse, and it's come to Bourtis. It's had one run, and it ran 3 lengths off, and it's a daughter Futura, Neil. So I don't know what price that horse is, but wherever I put Kapama, I'm going to put her in as well because there's little to choose between them on their last meeting. I think there's a couple of lengths in it. But I'm going to mention a horse now that you and I have been for on a number of occasions, and I like. And you know which one it is.
Drummer Dude. I assume Drummer Dude.
It is Drummer Dude.
Well, yeah, he's drawn 1. I mean, I must say, he does look lurking at the bottom there with no weight. I agree with you. At 25 to 1, he certainly would be a nice little place bet, I think.
Yeah, he could be a nice little place bet. I think that do they offer 4 places here? No, because Pucker Up is now scratched as well. Do they offer 4 places with 16 runners? I'm not sure.
I'm not too sure. I get confused with soccershop.bet.
But
I'm sure if you're asking me,
there's 4 places there.
I pay 4 places. Yes.
It pays 4 places. So what price is it a place, Neil? It's 3 to 1 a place. So maybe we should ask.
Well, I think we should ask for that because that is a horse we've been for before, and he's lurking with 54 and a half.
Stable, he's the late Farn Boerter's horse, and he now runs for the first time for Yanni Borman. But I think with our friend Jeffrey Saistu, who's done us a good turn, winning during the week, that maybe we'll follow him again.
No, it was Jeffrey on the horse we backed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like that. I mean, a place bet. I mean, we're not going to get hurt. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get at least 7 to 2.
Yes.
A place.
So we'll ask them to boost that place price, which is our price booster, I think, today. A place in the last race on... I'll be taking a few wins, Daniel, as you will, I'm sure, on Drummer Dude. But
yes, we won't let that run.
We're taking it from... In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we haven't done that already prior to coming on the show, because I certainly was up till all hours of the morning doing my... ones and twos. Okay, so Neil, that's it for today. Thanks very much for joining us. We're back on Thursday. You'll be back tomorrow. And for those people that did sign up to Clocking the Gallop Extra, just a reminder that it'll be Neil's selections tomorrow that'll be sent out to you because there was no racing on Sunday, so you will be eligible to receive those selections for Wednesday.
Nico, before you go, Italy or Spain?
Yes. Italy or Spain.
What do you think?
Well, you know that I've supported Italy since the start. And I said that from the first time I watched them, they played the very first match, didn't they? If I remember correctly.
Correct.
And I said they could probably go the whole way. So I have to remain with Italy. England versus Denmark. You're doing the game tomorrow night. It'd be a fairy tale, actually, if Denmark won because of what happened in the opening game. And I thought about that countless times, how stories develop over time. But England have just come to the fore and they've really gelled as a team. And you wouldn't have believed it when you looked at the game of Scotland. You wouldn't have believed that they would have got to these heights. But they're gelling together as a team. And, you must be pretty happy with the way that they've gone. Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. I liked England not because of their squad so much, as that they were playing so many home games at Wembley, and now they got a semi-final at Wembley and a final at Wembley if they get through Denmark. I'm not so sure that their value, Nico. I'll be honest with you. I've backed the Italians and Denmark. So if it's an Italy-Denmark final, then I'll be very happy because I can't lose.
Yeah.
So I've taken a position against England. They probably deserve to be favourites, but I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, yesterday we had to endure. I mean, England's going mad. I was watching Windsor racing from Windsor last night, and it was sponsored by someone who was thanks and well done to Gareth Southgate handicap, and then the next race was it's coming home handicap, and it's so. The problem with England is they can get a little bit ahead of themselves. What I do think, the bet tomorrow night, I'm going low on total goals. England and I know that won't be popular because England put 4 past Ukraine, but I don't think they're going to be putting 4 past Denmark.
Yeah. Well, as you say that, I spoke to my brother yesterday, and he was going through to Oxford. He's got something happening at Oxford next week, and he said that Saturday night there's meant to be a gala dinner, which they brought forward because of the final. So I said, but they're not in the final yet. So he says, yeah, but they just anticipate, they're just anticipating being in the final. So they brought the dinner forward, so there you go. There you go.
No, they're all over it. And they might beat Denmark, because Denmark, the thing is about Denmark, I mean, I have backed Denmark because they're actually, I think they're still 10-1. I think they're the rank outside of the.
Yeah, I looked at them last night. They were 10-1. That's right. They are 10-1.
So it was a value decision more than anything else. And I'm very happy with the value of 10-1 in a 4-horse race, because if you get to a final, then it's a final. And remember, I'm hoping Italy are on the other side, in which case I can't lose. But what the only negative with Denmark is that they've had a busy tournament, and emotionally as much as anything else.
Yeah.
So
can that emotion not carry them through?
It can carry them through, but it can peter out quickly because it happened early. So I think the emotion has carried them thus far. But how long can you keep riding that Christian Eriksen drive?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping I'm wrong, and I think emotionally they might be tired as much as physical, but obviously I back them, so I'm hoping that from a value perspective.
Yeah.
But England haven't conceded a goal, so that's why I'm going low on goals. Low on total goals.
I know they haven't conceded a goal, and I've got a few people reminding me of that every time they play. But but I'm on Italy. Just to answer your question, I'm definitely with my friend Nino Podesta, who's on Italy.
I saw him waving an Italian flag.
He had his Italian shirt behind him, and not that we didn't notice it. I mean, it said Italia behind him, and he put it on for show. But anyway, we will see what happens in tonight's game and in tomorrow night's game. And looking forward to it, Neil, and looking forward to seeing you on the box. Neil, thanks so much for your input, and all the best. And we'll see you again on Thursday.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.